Hi everybody, Russell Gurule here with you guys, and this is the New Mexico is a Basketball State podcast. We're going to talk about everything basketball, high school, pros, college, everything. So stay tuned for my thoughts, things that are happening, things that will happen. We make predictions here, okay? Stay tuned. All right, everybody. It's good to see you guys. It's good to see you guys back on the court. This is going to be the first episode of New Mexico is a Basketball State podcast. I decided to do this, decided to, talk a little bit, talk about the season, talk about basketball topics. The first thing that this season is very interesting in the fact that it's starting in March when normally a normal season would end in March. But here we have something that's just very, very different. Something I've never seen in, watching basketball for about 30 years now. I've never seen this happen before. And it's been very difficult on everybody, not knowing what to do, what to expect, how to treat it, to, reach for that goal. And that's one of the things that has been very difficult. But you guys out there that are playing, you're doing great out there. You're really doing some stuff. And I can see you now in the second week really getting going and getting a rhythm and getting a team chemistry that's pretty special. I mean, it's still a season, so every game counts. And, you see like Cleveland. When I saw the first game of the season, Hope versus Cleveland, that was very surreal. The bleachers were rolled up. There were no fans. It was just it was like it was summer ball, and it was kind of sad, but also exciting in a way. And Cleveland, you guys came out on fire. You were ready. You were engaged, and I've seen that with a lot of schools. Santa Fe for sure. And Rio Rancho, you guys come out and you're ready to play, especially at Trisco. And we're seeing a lot of good things. Las Cruces, you're on fire. You're doing a lot of great things down there in southern New Mexico. Your team looks like definitely a title contender, back to back. And looks like Cleveland and Las Cruces could meet up in the finals. But Volcano Vista and Trisco could also be there as well. I mean, it's wide open. Haven't seen Capital yet. Maybe Capital will be there. You just don't know yet. There's still a lot of ball to be played. But it's still kind of we still have some games to go here. And there's been some great performances. I've seen Derek Chavez last night against Valley. With playing for Valley, and playing against Trisco. And you looked really sharp. Isaiah Brooks looked great. Last week I saw Alamogordo against Las Cruces, and that was very interesting, actually exciting, good to see. They treated it like a regular season game, like there were fans. There was an announcer there. They did everything like it was a regular season game, and that's the way it should be. And William Benjamin, Deuce, you came out and you rocked it. Okay? And Isaiah Carr, definitely. And I saw Dustin Hicks. You definitely showed that you could play. Your coach mentioned that you were going to be a good one. And Caden Shelf. So you guys are really definitely rolling down there in southern New Mexico. And, keep an eye on Jalen Gore at Hobbs. That's another great guard. And especially here in the Metro. We're doing a lot of good things here in the Metro. And I would love to see some fans in the stands. But, if you have to, pretend that there are fans in the stands. What else can you do? And play for a state championship. There's some things that could happen this year. Las Cruces could go back-to-back. And if they do, they can go for an unprecedented three-peat title next season. When I believe that we will have the 20-plus game schedule. I really do next season. And I think that, next season we'll definitely, be back to normal. But this year, there's a chance for everybody to win a state title. And it's still a state title. And that's the main things about that. I still, I still think that there's some other teams out there that could possibly sneak in there and make some action happen. Sandia for sure. Sandia's got the talent. Volcano Vista. Rio Rancho could sneak in there. La Cueva looks strong. El Dorado. I mean, it's wide open in my opinion. It's definitely wide open. So, keep playing hard, because each game counts, because there's so few now. And you definitely have to be ready. And even if they don't play the national anthem and they don't have a tip-off, be ready. And I'm going to get to those thoughts in a minute here, especially how those things are being, conducted this season. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to talk about COVID a little bit on this episode. And this is the first episode. So I'm going to talk about that a lot. And I'm also going to talk about possibly LeBron. I don't know yet. LeBron today did a tweet that was kind of interesting. So stay tuned on those thoughts. Hi, COVID. All right, so in the first segment, I talked about the teams, and I talked about the things, like basically a rundown. There's a lot of, go over a few quick players here. There's a lot of really good players this year that are doing well. Sean Johnson is blowing it up. Shane Domas Sanchez of Del Norte is really blowing it up. William Deuce Benjamin, Junior Hodnett, all you guys are blowing it up. Isaiah Brooks, Derek Chavis. I mean, we're really seeing some nice performances. Kobe Wade of Atrisco looked great last night. We're seeing all of those. So I wanted to get those in before I really got into COVID. So I know it says COVID, my thoughts, but I wanted to get that stuff in there and definitely mention some names there for that, because you guys do deserve some recognition. And because you guys have been going through a lot, not knowing if you're going to have a season or not, but you have a season, so take it as a gift. And so I'm going to get into COVID and how this was kind of handled. I thought that first of all, I think it's kind of odd that we don't have any fans, but I understand there's a color-coded system, which I haven't really, honestly, been paying attention to, because you look at other states and they're open. Texas is open. They're playing basketball. Arizona, all these other different places, our AAU clubs are going out there and they're playing. And, it's kind of frustrating here in New Mexico. And, there were some things about mask, possible fines and suspensions if you don't wear a mask. I haven't seen anybody not wear a mask, okay? I have not seen that, and I've been to probably about 6 or 7 games, 6, 7, about 10 games so far this season, and I have not seen anybody who was not wearing a mask. So I don't know why their NMAA is mentioning that right now. I saw that somewhere. Somebody can check with me or message me on that issue. There's some other things like, I guess if the mask was below the nose or something like that, there was possible technicals or warnings. I heard that was an issue down in southern New Mexico, and I believe District 2 in that area. And I've seen that a lot. I don't know how you guys are able to play with mask on. I would pass out and somebody would have to get a fan, go over my face there to cool me off, because I don't think I could play with a mask on, but you guys are doing it, so rock on. And that's definitely an issue, I guess. We'll see how that plays out. As far as other things go, the tip-off, I don't see why you can't just do a tip-off, because you guys are touching each other. It's basketball, it's sports, it's physical, it's sports, it's basketball. So I don't know why they're getting rid of the tip-off. I haven't gotten any adequate explanation for that. So that's kind of interesting, why we're just, throwing the ball in and not doing a tip-off. it's been kind of surreal how certain things are being treated. Like some schools will play the national anthem, some schools will shake hands, and then some schools will stand in a line far away from each other and wave at each other at the end of the game. And I think maybe it's time for a little bit of uniformity all the way across the state, as far as games are concerned, and practices of how to conduct a game, and what you do and what you can't do and things like that. Again, you go back to that color-coded system where I guess if you're yellow, you get some restrictions. If you're turquoise, you don't get some restrictions and you're open. But to me, it seems like you should have some kind of conformity all the way across so everybody knows what's going on. And I don't quite see that. Everybody's kind of having to pick and choose what to do or how to do it just to get by, just to get through it, and that's kind of difficult. And hopefully we can all work on that. And so that's been one thing as far as COVID is concerned. And as far as the season goes, we'll have to see what a state tournament looks like. I'm not sure if there's going to be any fans or not. I guess it's all going to depend on whether Bernalillo County is open, and whether they allow certain participation, and whether they allow fans in the stands. Honestly, when it comes to fans in the stands, I want to argue this point, okay? You got all these gyms that can seat about, from your 3A, your 2A, 3A, 4A, 5A. Your smaller schools are going to have, of course, smaller gyms. They're only going to seat about 200-300 people, but your big gyms like your 4As and 5A schools are all going to be about 1,000 to 2,000 people. And you've got two teams, and let's say you have 15 players per team. I mean, I don't see why they can't let in at least one parent per player. So that's 30 people. And you can separate them, 6, 12 feet if you need to. At least have that. I mean, because I get a lot of parents that would love to see their children play in person, especially this year after what we've been through. This whole COVID thing started in March. It started for me actually when Cleveland and Santa Fe finished their game at the pit last year at the state tournament. That's when it started for me, and that's when the NMAA announced that there would not be any more fans in the pit during that time. And it was a very surreal feeling, knowing that everybody was leaving and then nobody was going to be able to come back. So that was very surreal, and we're trying to get back to normal. That's the goal, is to get back to normal. And I do think it's safe. You look at other states, they're proving that it's safe. Florida is proving that it's safe. Their numbers are the same as California, who's all locked down. Texas has gone on now 40-something days without masks and things like that, and their numbers are completely dropping. So there's plenty of data out there that anybody can find and look up and see that COVID is gradually going down, and this pandemic is gradually going down. And forgive me, but I'm a little skeptical of any other surge that's being claimed, especially on the signs that you see on the highways. No one wants another surge. See it all over the place, and it gets a little tiresome, because I don't think we're going to see another surge, to be honest with you. I really don't. Because if we did, we would have already had it now, especially in Texas, who's wide open, who has 30 million people. I'm just arguing a few little points there. But I think it's kind of going to come down to the parents and the players and, people who support the schools, especially in high school and college, to get out there and say, we need to move on. We need to get back to normal, and we need to get to this step and this step. Enough of this color-coded system stuff. We need to get moving. We need to get back to normal. People are able to, sit at home right now, but eventually we're going to all have to get back to work, and we're eventually going to have to get back to school and be able to, to have that interaction, because interaction is important. That physicality, that being able to dab and slap and hug and talk to each other in a circle and to hang out and things like that. Human interaction is it's the most important thing, in my opinion, that any person can have. And so I think you need that together, and that's very, very, very important, and we need to get back to that, in my opinion. But that's basically right off the top of my head, my thoughts on COVID. So let's talk about LeBron on the next tweet. Let's talk about his tweet. Stay tuned for the next episode. Okay, LeBron's tweet. All right, so in case you haven't heard, there was a situation where there was a lady that was going to stab another lady, and an officer, a policeman in Ohio, this happened in Ohio, shot that person before she was able to stab this lady. Now, LeBron of the Lakers does a tweet, and he deleted it, and he put a picture of the officer and said, "You're next." And so that was kind of troubling. It's a form of doxing. It's doxing, in case you don't know, is a way to mark somebody and elicit an action against that person. And that's kind of troubling, especially from a superstar athlete. It is troubling, because nobody wants to be doxxed, and frankly nobody really should be doxxed in a way. We should all, of course we got to hold people accountable and things of that nature, but let the courts, that's why we have laws and things like that, let that be decided. But it's important what you put out there into the world, because it's not what goes in, it's what goes inside, but what goes out into the world, because good and bad can come back. And for LeBron, you have a chance. I know he's hurt, but you have a chance to be a back-to-back champion with the Lakers. And it's really not something to get involved in and to create kind of strife. And this form of doxing has been going on for the last 10 years, and it's becoming the norm, and I'm afraid that it could become more and more of something we see every day, and I hope we don't see it anymore, and I hope we can all start to get along and just let things work themselves out, because they always do. Things always work themselves out. And so in a way, that's my thoughts on that and LeBron's tweet as far as that goes, because I'm sure that's just my 1 cent, not my 2 cent. And there's plenty of people, sportscasters, talk show hosts, from the political spectrum to the sports spectrum, talking about it. So it's just definitely something to think about, something to critically think about and think through. So that's my thoughts on that. So this is the end of the first episode. Did a little bit of talking about a lot of stuff, and I hope you enjoy it. Definitely message me if you got some questions that you would like me to talk about on the next episode. I'll definitely look at them. You can do it at Russell Gurule on Facebook and Instagram, even on Twitter. I'm on Twitter. And this episode will go up on my YouTube page, same name. You can definitely see it on Facebook. Probably won't put it too much up on Instagram, because it's going to be long and massive. So check it out, see if this is something you enjoy, and I thank you all for watching. Keep playing hard, keep working hard. It's almost time for that state tournament, and it's coming, so be ready. And once again, thank you. You guys have a great night.